Hello, so I will be your mediator, Dante.
I'm Dylan. We'd like to welcome you to today's mediation, Mr. Gobayashi and Dale.
Yes, and basically what mediation is a way for you two to come together and build communication and a way to not necessarily solve issues, just to build and bridge the gap in communication.
Have a better understanding of what each other would like to get out of this.
Yes. And since Mr. Yobayashi, you're the one that started the mediation, so we would like you to go first. And during the first process of mediation, we're just going to let everyone get out whatever they need to say, but we're going to do it one by one, so if you be kind enough to not interrupt one another.
Okay.
Is that okay?
All right.
Could you please tell us your side of the story from beginning to finish?
Okay, so it all began with my father's property.
Mm-hmm.
Dale here apparently had a few instances actually. It started leaking some chemicals into his pond, and it actually started killing trees and plants, and fish had actually died. And obviously these are things that are not replaceable. I mean, this is a fish that reminds me of my mom's childhood, because we used to give koi fish as part of our tradition. That's basically what we did here. So there's a lot of damage, and my father doesn't speak any English. So there's a big problem here. And there's also vandalism. That's a big issue too. So I'm not sure.
We'd just like to know, like, when you're speaking, you'd like to speak to us
Okay.
instead of to Mr. Dale.
Okay.
Yes.
So basically, Dale here had reached with a broomstick and knocked over my father's camera. And it basically knocked it over. That's one of many instances so far, besides the fact that plants and fish are dying. Not sure what's causing this. I'm not sure if he feels threatened by us, but we feel threatened because he had come over to our property and he had not touched me, no physical harm, but he had actually went into my father's garage and had almost threatened me verbally. And we need this to stop. I feel like as adults we should not behave in this manner.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to try to find some type of solution here. Plus, we want compensation for all the damage that Dale has caused on my father's property.
Yes, and the reason why your father isn't here because...
Well, basically, he's not able to represent himself. He's clearly not able to comprehend as much English and speak it.
Mm-hmm.
He wouldn't really understand fully what's going on.
But he has expressed his frustration and concerns with you.
That he has.
Yes. So to the base of your knowledge, whatever you're saying is how your father, Yobayashi, feels.
Right. I'm basically representing...
That's an understanding over here, right?
Okay. That sums it up for the most part.
So, So the vandalism that occurred was the fish
Was the fish?
and the camera?
The cameras. Oh, there's some type of chemical that was leaked onto the property. I'm not sure what it was. We're not too sure, but we feel that a lot of it needs to be undone and taken away, which means a lot of foliage needs to be replaced. In terms of the the soil and the trees and the plants. That's all going to cost. We need to hire a landscaper to get this done. And also, I want my father to feel safe in his own home.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want him to feel that he's being attacked by a neighbor.
Of course.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for telling your story.
No problem.
All right, thank you. First of all, I would like you to know that this was not a case of vandalism because I was just fixing the weeds in my yard. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I was just fixing my backyard, trying to make it nicer for myself. That was it. Chemical spill on his yard was not my responsibility because I spilled the chemical on my yard, not on his yard. And they were talking about this koi fish pond. I never even seen a fish anywhere. It was just a shallow little puddle, like somewhere, you know. Like I didn't see a fish somewhere, and all I did was spray pesticides in my yard, to like kill the weeds. That was it. It wasn't. I don't mean to kill anything in his yard. Like I never went over there and spilled toxic spills purposely onto his yard. I spilled toxic spills on my yard to clean up the weeds on my yard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was it. And I don't know what's up with his dad. He doesn't speak English at all, and he refuses to communicate with me. Like, he refuses to work with me. He had a camera pointed at my house. Isn't that invasion of my privacy? So yes, I had the right to knock it over.
I feel you'd be. How would you feel? Would you think? Did you feel like betrayed?
It's not that I felt betrayed. It's just my neighbor refused to communicate with me that he would point a camera at my house. Like,
Yeah.
what does that even mean? Like, he treats me like a criminal after I try to clean up my yard.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's basically it. That's what happened. And after that, I try to smooth things over. I come over to his garage, and this man has the nerves to display martial arts things, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he tried to flex on me, basically. And that was it. And I went over peacefully to smooth things over, but he went over with like display of martial art kicks and stuff. He was trying to flex on me to like, I don't know what he was doing. I almost punched him for that.
One minute, sir. It's just like I said, out of respect, he didn't interrupt when you were speaking, so
Apologize.
yes.
Apologize.
All right, continue, Mr. Dale.
And after that, I saw that it was useless to try and communicate with him because that was my attempt to communicate with him. One last chance to smooth things over.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, I see that it's useless to talk to that guy. Well, that's about it. What happened?
Okay.
So do you think if he had tried to communicate his skepticism towards you, there would have been no need for the camera to begin with?
I think the camera was unnecessary from the beginning. He should understand that people take care of weeds in their yard with toxic stuff, you know? But he doesn't understand that. And he thinks that whatever I spill onto my yard has spilled onto his yard. I mean, let's be serious. When I spray things over, the wind's gonna blow it over. It's gonna go over there. That's just how it works, you know? I can't control the wind from not blowing.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it.
Okay. So it sounds like there's a little bit of a miscommunication between the two of you. I can see where both of you are coming from. You each have your own reasons, but we're gonna hope to mend that communication gap.
Yes. For some reason, I feel as though your father is a little scared. Would you say that?
He's very scared, I would say. He feels,
Scared in a way of how?
well, scared in the sense where he can't basically tend to his own yard without feeling that something is going to obviously kill it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much this chemical, whether it's Dale's intention or not, I don't know if it's going to continuously kill any type of plants and trees that he has. A fish pond is probably not even an option anymore. It's probably contaminated completely, beyond repair. So
What fish pond? I didn't see a fish
I see
pond
that.
anywhere.
We would just like you to exert the attention to
and see why
us.
we have cameras for this guy? That's
All right, you two.
I just want to say that in order for the mediation to go, and we need to have a common sense of understanding that one person is going to be talking at a time, and due to the fact that it will be disrespectful to both of you guys, and we will not have a progressive mediation. So if one of you will talk, then the other one will have to leave respectably, be quiet and listen, and then we'll get back to you guys. So no, this is not done, and we're just going to talk about it. Just treat it like a conversation. But you're talking to us. You're not talking to Mr. Dale, and you're not talking to Mr. Yobayashi.
okay.
Right?
We're all adults here. Understand that?
Yeah, I understand that you believe there should be a sense of decorum in the situation. Yes, but as of terms of saying we're all adults, that gives a negative connotation that
Exactly.
people aren't
Okay.
acting
People aren't.
correctly. So go ahead and keep going.
Okay, so, well, other than that, so the camera, I'm not sure where that camera was pointed by the time I got there. The camera was knocked down. It was already, from all what I can see, it was physically hit with an object, whatever that may be. Dale says that it was pointed at his property. Not sure what my father's intention was. He wanted to make sure that his yard was protected. So I went over to help him out. Basically, from what I can see, it looks like his yard had been attacked. You can clearly see that there's a lot of damage done to his property. And Dale talks about how he came onto our property. I didn't feel that he was being apologetic at all. I felt how I was being attacked. He had gotten in my face. And this whole martial arts thing, I feel that's a big stereotype. It's big race. Not every Asian person knows martial arts. I can't do backflips. I can't do spin kicks. Okay, that's not in my genetics. So that's another thing that I feel was uncalled for.
Do you think? How do you feel during that when he said that your father did martial arts on him? I sense that there is this sense of tension, disrespect.
May I please? So basically, when I went over, this man is over here displaying some martial arts kicks. And I was just trying to come over in his garage to like talk things out, you know. This was my last resort to communication. I mean, I didn't think it was gonna be, but seeing how that, like when I went over, all he was doing was martial kicks, and I was like, well, why are you doing this?
So
Like,
the entire time he was
yeah,
doing martial arts
he was
kicks.
displaying martial art kicks as I went over into his garage, and I was confused of why he did that. Like, was he trying to threaten me with that display, or that's why I felt that it was like I couldn't communicate with him. I almost hit him over that. I do admit that my reaction to his ignorance was stupid, yes, but
In order to, instead of saying ignorance, how would you, like, what's a different word you can use to say that? Was it just a lack of cultural differences? And as
Or
a
knowledge of another culture.
yes, and saying just the fact that he speaks a different language than you, there was, and Mr. Yobayashi's-san was there to communicate.
so imagine this, alright? So in the American culture, it was literally like this. I went over to talk it out with the guy. And he's literally bench pressing the whole time. Like to show me how strong he is
Mm-hmm.
and how he can beat me. That's what I felt like. That he was trying to threaten me with
So
that.
you felt intimidated.
Yes, intimidated. That he was trying to threaten me, but he was trying to show me that he could threaten me if he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I felt like, and my reaction to his threats, as how I saw it, was a little bit overreacted. But I never assaulted the guy, man. Come on, like he has no reason to be scared. That's it.
I see as though the cultural differences really prove an important part in this living arrangement. Since you guys are neighbors and it's the communication, the language barrier itself is a huge problem.
Do you think that you've done a good job communicating to Dale over there for your father?
I feel whether I'm doing a great job or not, I feel that I'm his only choice in terms of getting his word out, or at least his side out.
Or I guess what I meant to ask was, do you think that you have a good enough understanding of where your father is coming from to effectively communicate?
I feel that I do, based of course, I wasn't always there or wasn't always present when these events had taken place, but I feel like I have a good enough understanding where I can see it from his side, especially being his son. I'm one of the few family members he has that can actually help him out in this time. I mean, the man is approaching his 90s. He's not really in the best mindset. He may not have the best vision, and I feel he needs the extra help from a person in the family.
I see there's a sense of responsibility on your behalf.
I agree. Yes,
And a
completely.
responsibility in the sense of you taking action, you're protecting your father.
Right,
Yes.
right. I feel that as a son, that should be my
Your
job,
duty.
my duty.
Your family.
To do
Yes.
exactly.
So I see that family is a huge important part to you,
Mhm.
and protecting that family is really important to you.
Exactly.
So after the camera incident happened, the alleged camera incident happened. What on your behalf? What happened?
Well, first of all, with the camera incident, the camera was pointed right at me. I mean, it was on his property, but it was pointed right at me. I saw that as invasion of my privacy. Nobody should point a camera at me from someone else, especially not my neighbor, you know? I felt very disrespected, and like my neighbor was out to invade my privacy over what I saw.
see
That's
that-
what I saw.
you-
It's nothing.
You think that your privacy was invaded?
Yes, it was.
Yes.
That's why I knocked the camera over, because I can't let anyone just like point a camera at me like that. Like, it doesn't make sense that anyone should invade my privacy on that level. I understand that he is an old man. He's a crazy old fool. That he is.
Can we not use words like that? Crazy is definitely a negative connotation. Instead of saying crazy, maybe it was just a lack of understanding.
I see that with age, your rationality decreases. You know, I guess he was like he was overreactive. He was defensive because of
Are
his
you
age.
are you insinuating that his age has a reason of how he reacted?
I think because of his age that he was more like scared of me, of everything I did. He was more paranoid, he was more scared, he was more defensive. Yes. And as I was saying, with the camera, he like I guess that's why he did the camera thing, you know?
Mm-hmm. It's because you felt invasion of privacy and his reaction was to protect himself.
Yes, but
And
he
your
doesn't have the need to
viewpoint
protect
is
himself.
that you want to protect your father.
Of course. But can you blame my father for being quote unquote defensive? I mean, the fact that everything's taking place, you can't, and the fact that there's a language barrier with him and Dale, I feel like that's a huge problem in itself. And of course, I feel Dale here knew what he was doing. He grabbed an object and knocked the camera right over. I mean, without even reporting that or talking to anybody beforehand, even reaching out, he basically is touching property that is not his. And I feel that's another reason my father should be quote unquote defensive, or at least worried about his life.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel this man is obviously younger than my father. If he wanted to harm my father, he easily could.
Yes.
And that worries me, because I'm not always there.
Well, I thought the age was not an issue in this, and maybe if he didn't consult with anyone before putting the camera on, why should I consult with anyone before knocking the camera down? Like I have the right to defend myself too, and since age isn't the issue here, I should be able to defend myself. Yeah.
Do you think that there was another option you could have taken instead of knocking it over?
I definitely could have went over and talked to him about the camera, but he never talked to me about the camera.
Mm-hmm.
So in all fairness, I did what I had to do.
When the camera was pointed at you, did you feel a sense of? You said that you felt your privacy was being taken away from you,
Yes.
and you said that once the camera was pointed away from you, it was like, how could you do this to me? And then you got defensive, correct?
Of course.
Yes. And then when Dale came into your father's yard, your father felt defenseless.
Right. Of course. He felt defenseless even before he had even gone into the property, basically with his actions.
Okay. Was there any communication between the two of you? Or was it the communication mainly focused between Mr. Yobayashi, the father?
Yeah, it was mainly between his father and I.
Mm-hmm.
I never had the chance to talk with someone who could speak English.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that whenever we did talk, it wasn't very much. I'm basically going off of the story of my father, what he's telling me. I'm here on his behalf. So, other than the fact that Dale had come on over, whether he felt threatened or not, I felt threatened by him coming on over aggressively. That's how I perceived it.
So, your viewpoint, your summaries are that you would like to be respected, your father would like to be respected, he would like to feel a sense of safe in his own home, and you feel a sense of duty to protect that need for him. And what would be another one another need that he would like to meet?
Besides the whole respect, your sense of respect, the replacement of the things that meant the most to you and your father.
Right.
Yes, so it's a
your mother.
sense of family. You're really family oriented, and a
Yes.
sense of history and traditions.
Right.
And you're more sense of you would like to feel safe in your own home. You would like your privacy kept.
I would like to have the right on my property.
Yes, you would like to be respected in your own property, to have decisions,
Yes.
your own choose to just how you use your property, and you would like better communication practices,
Just mutual respect from both sides.
mutual respect.
Mhm.
And would you say mutual respect is something that you and your father would like to have with Mr. Dale?
I'd say so. It's a big part of our culture, of course.
Yes.
Respect.
It sounds like respect is the common factor
Yes. And how Mr. Yobayashi's family he's really family oriented, and his respect goes with how him and his family do things, and your respect is how
You would like to do things on your side of the fence.
So that's definitely commonality that both of you guys can see that is huge in your life, and it's a huge aspect in how you live and how you do things.
Can you both agree on that?
That's
Yes,
one thing
definitely.
I think that's one thing we can actually agree on.
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
So would you say the summary of issues between both of you were correct? Were we missing anything in your summary of issues?
I would have, well, as you said, the right of my property,
Mm-hmm.
respect, and also my privacy,
Mm-hmm.
and communication between neighbors.
Yes.
That's about it.
Yes.
In terms of respect, I feel that he has his right to do whatever he needs to get done on his property, but I feel that he also needs to respect other people's properties as well. I feel like there's a lack of trust there in terms of trusting that there are neighbors that are entitled to having their own separate property unaffected by his actions. I feel that a lot of damage has been done. We do need, I feel me and my father primarily needs compensation
Mm-hmm.
for all of the damage on his yard. That's basically what we're not going to press more charges if we can get compensation for that. That's our goal.
Just basically want things back to normal. on your side.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
You just wanted to how it was before.
How it was
You
before.
want your
Yes.
koi fish back.
Mhm.
You want the trees alive. You want the soil to be fertile,
Mhm.
so you can grow things, and
Right.
you just want your traditions
Right.
back.
Right. The koi fish probably won't
Memories
happen.
and traditions.
Exactly. The memories. My father's taking the koi fish. That's probably the hardest.
Mhm.
Losing his wife, or my mother, of course. It was already hard enough. That was the last living memory of my mother, and so he took that particularly hard,
Mm-hmm.
more than anything.
And
that's
how did
probably
that
most
affect-
irreplaceable.
Your father, did he?
He was really distraught about it.
Mhm.
He feels the yards and the trees could be replaced, but the fish itself, I mean, that fish is gone now.
Yeah.
There's no turning back. You can't reverse the death of a fish, especially that had so much meaning to it.
I would like to. Do you think it would be possible if we could have a caucus with Mr. Yobiashi, and it would just be a one-on-one interview, and then if you would like, we could have an interview with you as well.
Oh yes, of
Is
course.
that possible?
Yes.
We'll call you back in.
Okay, so I definitely see a sense of when you were bringing up the fish, you really got emotional
I
about it.
did.
So I feel like the fish is a huge aspect in
In
this
this whole situation.
yes entire
Right.
situation.
I really think Scott, I'm not sure you want me to elaborate
Yeah,
more.
of
Okay,
course.
so growing up, I mean, giving off of koi fish as a gift, and it had a lot of representation, meaning of family, togetherness, long life, prosperity, you know it. That fish was very important to my mother, very important to my father. We've had that fish for a very long time.
Yes.
The fact that it died and passed away, my father doesn't really have too much time left on his living either, so I'm not too sure how long he'll be around. But the fact that he had to lose his last living memory, it really hurt me. I almost took it personally.
Yes.
Of course, in my
Of course.
yeah,
It's your mother too.
exactly.
Yeah.
Whether it was Dale's intention or not, I'm sure he's got his reasons for doing what he wants to do. But I feel that a lot of it was meant to attack my father, whether he
Do you
realized it.
feel personally? So do you feel personally attacked
Mhm.
in every actions that Dale has taken?
I have to be.
As opposed as a potential accident.
Right. I mean, of course,
Or maybe a lack of understanding.
I think so, yes. I think there's a lack of understanding. He may not fully understand exactly the extent of all the chemicals he was using on his yard. I'm sure his intention is not to just ruin every neighbor around him. He doesn't seem like that half of that guy from when I first seen him being at my father's place. Never really talked to him. But he seemed like he kept to himself until this all came up.
Yeah.
And it worries me because I feel like he may not stop because he feels that he's entitled to do whatever he can do.
Yes.
And take advantage of it. I'm being inconsiderate of everyone around him.
Mhm.
That's my main concern.
So your number one, your top three issues would be the memories of the fish, the respect that you hold to your father that you would like to be held from Mr. Dale.
I just want him to be held accountable
Yes.
for his actions.
and you would like for him to be accountable for his actions.
So you're saying that it's not entirely about the money, it's just about the memories and the
Exactly.
traditions.
For the most part, money.
Respect.
Right. Money will just replace whatever had been contaminated and killed off, of course. But it's really more of an understanding of what he had done wrong. Yeah, money is definitely secondary to all this.
So we understand it was hard for you to get time off today.
Yes.
Thank
Yes,
you
it
for
was.
that.
Yeah.
Are you aware that if this isn't settled here today, then you might have to spend more time?
Yes. I'm afraid of that. Being a doctor, I did not want Dale to know this, and hopefully we can keep this between us verbally. I feel like there's a lot more on the line for me. Being a doctor, I don't have a lot of time to meet with my father or to be here on his behalf. It's very time consuming. You mediators, I'm sure you know,
Yes,
be here for long periods of time,
for
probably
sure.
multiple days, I'm sure.
Yes.
So I'd rather try to eliminate that process as much as we can. And understand that he's probably a busy man as well, but we want to at least try and resolve this the best we can,
Understandable.
if possible.
So memories are really important to you. And as far as memories go, once the fish died, do you believe that memory of your mother is gone? If it can be replaced, is it even possible? Because if you're talking about memories, are memories even possible to
remake.
yes.
Right. I feel that it was already hard enough for my father, losing my mother. But we can't bring her back. The koi fish is gone. I don't think we can even get a pond going again. The trees and foliage we can at least try to get back, but a pond is probably not going to be an option anymore. That's probably the biggest hit we had. But I mean, she's always going to be in our memory. But it just hurts even more so that we had to lose something.
Physical.
So, as in conclusion, the pond is out of the question. There will be no pond, so you're more focusing on the trees being replaced with
Right.
the soil.
Hiring
The soil.
and hiring a landscaper to
Yes.
come and perform all his duties.
Get everything almost back to normal.
Pretty much, yeah. It'll be a long road to get there, but I feel Dale should be paying his part, or at least being able to cover this for what he had done.
So if we can have Dale take responsibility, I guess, for the loss of the landscaping and the pond and everything, do you think that might mend a little bit of the...
It would probably mean more to my father, of course, being his property. The fact that there's already a huge cultural difference between the two.
As far as communication goes in the future, what would you prefer that Dale do when he has a problem, if he has a problem?
I feel that Dale and my father aren't really going to be able to resolve anything because they aren't able to speak, and they might take each other's actions wrongfully or in the wrong way. Big culture clash, of course.
Yes.
I feel that I'm one of the few people that can actually represent my father in cases like this. It's difficult. It's hard to say. I can't always be around. But when I can be, I feel that's the only time we can resolve anything. My father's 86 years old. He's not going to be able to learn English through Rosetta Stone or anything crazy like that. So, in a perfect world, he'd be able to communicate, but that's not going to happen. At least 9 times soon that I see.
Okay.
And you talked about respect is a huge part in your living. What does respect look to you in the future as between you and your father's relationship and Mr. Dale's relationship?
Well, I mean, the respect, of course, starts with each person. It takes 2 people to respect one another. He needs to. The camera pointed at his property was not the best option. I don't think it was. But him also vandalizing the camera, which is not his property, was probably not the best either. Alright, but that's basically how I feel we can amend the respect portion, of course. I feel there's a lot of work that can be done, but minimal interaction might be the best.
Yes, that's what you think respect looks like to you.
I feel it's to respect each other's spaces.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at.
What if Dale doesn't agree, or if he doesn't?
We're gonna have to take certain measures to make it to the next step, I'd say. Mainly because I feel that if Dale's not gonna do his part, it's only gonna make things worse. We would have to take this to court.
And it would cost more than I think the landscaping
I believe
would
it would.
cost. Yes.
I believe it
and
would.
more time,
Of course.
which ultimately would cost you more money.
Time is definitely more valuable for me.
Yes, time's a huge important aspect. We definitely understand that aspect
Yes.
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And time that it took your father to build
Mhm.
that backyard.
Right.
Yes.
Right. It was a
Exactly.
very long
Years.
process.
Yes.
Exactly. Years.
And time that memories were formed.
Yes.
Wiped away
Many years
pretty
ago.
quickly.
Okay, I just want you to know what the stakes are.
Right. I appreciate that.
Mhm.
I feel that's a big part of. I'm sure I don't go to mediations often, but I have a good understanding that these are meant to try to resolve situations as opposed
Yes.
to making worse, of course.
Yeah. And you definitely see Dale's point of view that you both share respect is a huge part in what you're trying to convey.
I'd say so.
Because of respect on his behalf, about the
With
whole
his
privacy
privacy.
issue.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
With his privacy and respecting your behalf, with
Mhm.
respecting your father as an
That's right.
elder
That's right.
and as a man that built this land and like put his time and effort in, and you'd like to respect him in his house, and he would like to, Dale would like to be respected on his property as well.
That's
You definitely see
understandable.
that, right?
I do
That
see that.
commonality.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I do see that.
So we would like to see, and you said respect in your sense is
Mhm.
limiting communication between the two.
Unfortunately, it may not be the best way to go, but given these circumstances, I feel that's
Then probably.
probably the better option. Yeah, I feel they may take each other's actions the wrong way completely, and that's definitely going to make matters worse. Because I'm not sure what my father's capable of doing. I don't want him to hurt himself. He's not the youngest guy, the young man that I once knew when I was a child. And of course, Dale, I'm not sure what Dale's intentions would be either.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, no problem.
We're gonna bring Mr. Dale in.
Okay, so we'll see you both shortly.
Yes.
Hi, Mr. Dale. I'm so sorry for the long wait.
Of course.
But yeah, we were just wanted to get really into detail about your aspect of what respect means to you, as when you said you really want the respect part back.
Well, the way I see it is neighbors should respect each other and each other's property. And my property is my own. Like, I could burn it if I want to.
Yes.
And that's what I was doing. I was killing the weeds on my property to make it better. I had no intention of messing up his property.
Mm-hmm.
Like, zero intention. But personally, I do not understand what the whole. I never even. Okay, I seen a little shallow pond. I never seen a fish. I never seen. And I don't know why the pond means so much to him, you know?
Mhm.
Like, he's making too much of a big deal over this. I hadn't, like. I don't know what the pond means to him. Or,
Yeah.
like, why is he, like this? I feel like he overreacts, to be honest.
If you learned about their culture aspect, because they are Japanese, and koi fish, I believe, are really important in the culture. So perhaps that koi pond had a very significant meaning to them.
To put it into perspective for you, maybe not to the full extent of losing his father's or his mother's koi fish, but
Wait. He lost his mother?
his mother's fish,
Oh, his mother's fish?
the koi fish in the pond.
Oh, okay.
Put it in perspective for you. You felt disrespected by him pointing his camera at you, and he felt disrespected by losing something very important to him that was caused by chemicals from your garden.
Well, I don't understand why that is that important to him. Like, I understand that it is culturally significant,
Yes.
but
Just similarly to how your privacy is important to you, those
Yeah.
koi fish were important to him. So if you can both understand how to respect each of those different aspects and kind of understand how they were important to each of you, then you might have a better understanding.
I do respect his property. I admit that I should have been more considerate while spraying toxic stuff over my property to kill the weed. I do understand that I should have consulted him, but I think that he's reacting way too much over this. Like, I spray things on my yard and his yard is suddenly gonna die. Like, I don't understand all that.
Do you see the disconnect? Like, you not believe there's a connection between you spraying chemicals and his yard being messed up?
But like, if the same thing happened to me and my neighbors spray something and like few of my grass die, I wouldn't mind at all. I just don't understand the significance of everything to him.
Yeah.
You understand? That's about it.
So just understanding the importance of the
Koi fish.
koi fish in the backyard to their family is
Yeah.
hard for you to grasp.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
And in the near future, what do you see the relationship between Mr. Yobayashi, and his son? Do you see a future together? Do you see open communication? Do you see you guys getting back together as neighbors? Or
Well, I just want nothing to do with him for now.
okay.
After all this is, I just want to stay on my part of it. I don't want to see him. I just want to pretend that he's not even there. He's just a regular neighbor who, like, I don't know.
I see that you want
As little communication.
yes. You
Well,
wanted
after
to,
this, I want no communication with him because the incident makes me not want to talk to him anymore.
hmm
But is it right that before I left the room that I heard you were talking to Mr. Kobayashi's son about his mother passing away, and koi fish was to like symbolize that to her.
Yes.
We're actually not allowed to discuss what happened,
And
but
that was
if
that was before I left though.
that was before you left.
Yes.
Perhaps, yeah. I believe Mr. Yobayashi, he can talk about that if he chooses to. But yeah, we know that the koi fish is really significant in his household.
Well, I understand that. I definitely understand how like losing family would be because I just got divorced. I lost everything,
Okay.
and I can understand how something that would remind him of his family would, and like losing something that would like remind him of his family and the honor of his family would definitely hurt him.
Yes.
But I had no idea that it was something like that until like he said it right before I left, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I can understand like losing of a family member or
Mhm.
losing of loss of family, especially, could be
Yeah.
devastating to a person. This is why I feel like I've partially been so irritated and angry lately because of I just went through a divorce. I lost everything.
Yeah. You can see his emotions towards losing something because you lost something
Because
as
you
well.
understand yourself.
Yeah, and Mr. Kobayashi himself definitely did not tell me anything about the resemblance of the koi fish. That was the first time I was hearing about it from his son
Mm-hmm.
right before I left, and I was awe-shocked almost. You know, It's like if it is something that resembles something like family, that is a big thing, and I definitely think that I destroyed something of great value to him.
Mm-hmm.
But before this, I just saw it as a few grass and tree died.
Yeah, it's like nothing.
Yeah,
You
it's
just-
a few
it's
grass
just-
and tree died, and what fish? Because I didn't even see a fish.
Yeah.
There was just like a little shallow pond, and they're gonna say, "Oh, there was a fish and it died." That's from my point of perspective. It was like, "Oh, like pay for my stuff. Like you damaged it, and stuff that wasn't even there."
Yeah.
So knowing this information now, do you feel that you have a better understanding of their frustration and
I definitely do because I went through the same thing. Loss of family. I guess it is the same concept. Like he doesn't have his wife, and I don't even have my family anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And if there was something that would like, I couldn't even imagine what death of a family member or his wife would feel like. You know, I never knew that he was going through something like that. Like me going through a divorce enough has already pissed me off to a great extent. But yes, definitely respect from neighbors. That should be a given, you know.
Yeah. You can.
mutual respect?
Yes.
Yes. You can. I definitely appreciate you saying that you can understand and empathize his point of view as losing something because you lost something as well.
Definitely.
So now you understand that losing someone and respect is a commonality between you two.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And after hearing that fact, I feel very guilty
Mm-hmm.
about destroying something that something that he built as a memorial to his wife.
Mm-hmm.
But his reaction to what happened was unacceptable
Yes.
from my point of perspective. But I can understand how he would overreact because I was overreacting too over loss of family.
Yes.
Just like him.
And how has that guilt impacted you in every decision you've made thus far?
Well, I just found this fact out, so I'm still processing it, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you guys can help me with that.
Yeah. So before you were just angry and frustrated and you felt betrayed, and now you're also feeling guilt towards the situation.
Yeah, but before I didn't know that before I felt like we had no communication, meaning that we had nothing in common together, but I guess we do have something in common together.
I can see the lack of having commonalities really impacted the relationship between you two.
Definitely. And I feel like we were both a little bit pissy and overreacted because of loss of something that's important.
Explain more of that, about the term pissy. Elaborate, please.
Well, I feel like ever since my wife left me and we went through a divorce, I've been very irritable. I've been very angry. That's why I straight up like sprayed toxic stuff over my grass to like kill it instead of consulting people at first. I just went and did it. Like it's cause I was just irritated about all the grass in my backyard. I just want to kill it all. And man, that was it.
So, understanding Mr. Gobiyashi and his family, are you more willing to work together to sort of replenish the privacy and the memories?
Definitely. If something like that has happened to me, I would want the other person to work towards a solution of regaining something valuable I lost. But I never realized the value of what he had lost up until recently.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Of course.
Would there be anything else you'd like to say? And mind you, whatever you say to us is strictly confidential.
Of course.
Unless you choose to share it within the mediation.
Well, that's about it.
All right. Thank you. So we're gonna have Mr. Gobiyashi come back in.
Of course.
Hello. So we just really want to thank you two for having a caucus with us, and we definitely got a better understanding of your two point of views coming together. And we found some cool things, some interesting things that you two share. Yeah. One is that you both have understanding of loss. Like you understand, like Mr. Dale understands loss, and you understand loss because for some reason you both have gone through that. And so he understands the significance of losing something that meant really dear to you.
I think knowing that about each other is gives you another step into mutual respect
Yes.
and communication.
Definitely.
And another aspect would be the respect aspect.
Respect, yes.
Yes.
Well, I think respect is. I think mutual respect should be given from the start. That people should really. That's how I see it. People should, especially neighbors, we should just respect each other. Or how else would we get along?
Yes. So how would you see respect in the near future? What is your definition of respect?
Well, in the case of Mr. Gobiyashi, I just respect would be just consulting with each other before doing anything that could possibly spill over to your neighbor's yard. That would be respect. That's what I could have done better with respect.
Just being more aware of your surroundings.
For him, I feel like I actually don't know. For him, I think he could like communicate with me more. That would show me respect. An invasion of privacy, the camera, that was disrespect.
Maybe consulting you beforehand about a camera.
Yeah, of course.
So how did the camera? Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine.
How did the camera itself
uh,
go against your definition of respect?
Well, I think the way I see it, just like how I would consult with him before spraying pesticides, he should consult with me before putting a camera that looks at me.
Yes.
That is kind of creepy, Well, that's how I see it with the camera. He should have consulted with me before.
Okay. What about for you? What is your definition of respect from this?
Right. Well, in terms of respect, I feel that we may not have handled it as best as we should have. I wish my father had spoken with me about his positioning of the camera. Of course, he wanted to really just highlight his yard, And truthfully, he wanted to cover a bit of Mr. Smith's yard as well.
Yeah.
Apparently, it pointing at anyone's property directly into a house is not a good feeling. So I can understand where he's coming from.
Yeah.
In terms of respect, we may not have handled the situation when he had come over to our doorstep one time. I feel that we did close the door. I do apologize for that. That was not our best option there to slam the door. I feel like he did want to at least be apologetic, but it was still a bit of an emotional time for us to kind of gather all our thoughts. Just out of respect to my father too. I was obviously a lot of anger was there too. We didn't really want to speak with him at the time. But in terms of respect, I think that's another huge part of that. Is understanding that a person is trying to make communication with you. He's not blowing us off completely. He's actually doing the opposite of that.
So do you believe respect goes with equates to communication?
I would say so. In certain cases, it would probably have to be channeled through me, of course.
Yes.
Since my father is able to, he wants to live a very quiet life. He can barely speak in English at all. So, I mean, for me, trying to make frequent visits to try to make sure everything's going smoothly.
Or even exchanging contact information. So.
That might have to be an option, of course. I'm sure Dale here wants to have his property. You know, he's already going through a lot from what I've been hearing. Stuff. I think another problem was he might have thought that we had called in the authorities on him, which we did not. By the way, we did not call the authorities. We did see authorities at his place. That was not our doing. We had our own matters to attend to.
What was this authority incident? I don't believe that you.
Oh yeah, so apparently some authorities had come by to his household and apprehended him. I guess he might have thought that we were convicting or accusing him of being a drug dealer. We had never done that before, so we just wanted to make that clear that was not our doing at all. I'm not sure if that was part of the anger from his side.
Did he say something to you to make you think that you? Or was it just something you just wanted to lay out on the table?
Well, it's a little bit of combination. It was kind of from what we could see, what we witnessed him, but also him coming towards us. He might have into the garage that one day. I thought that he might have thought that it would have been retaliation. Yeah, I have a habit of. I'm not sure if I was displaying martial arts kicks and whatnot, but that was not my intention to intimidate you. I was just trying to create the space there so matters didn't get worse. I just wanted to put that out there.
Okay.
I think that's a big part of respect.
Okay, I believe we can
move forward.
Yeah, we can move forward. And would you like to do the brief now?
Sure.
Yeah, because we're at 47. Like talking about. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh no, we can because the thing is like.
Okay. Yeah, we didn't get it solved.
Yeah.
Okay.
He said we just have to go through phase 1 to 2.
Okay. Should we do that now? What time is it?
It's like 50. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so how did you guys feel about the mediation as the parties' side?
Well,
What was like something that you liked and disliked and something do you think we understood the parties' bursts as mediators?
Belonging, understanding, respect, safety. What was the last one?
Trust.
Trust.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I think that we definitely had a better communication now. Before it was zero communication. I couldn't even talk with the guy. But now that I talk with his son and he explains everything, I didn't even know there was a loss of your mother, which I'm very sorry about. And I had no idea all these things were happening.
Yeah.
There was zero communication before this, and now that I see, now that he better explains his situation to me, I can sympathize with her more, definitely. And as for the stuff about invasion of privacy, disrespect, and being like over defensive, I do understand that. And I did the same thing, to be honest.
Yeah.
I tried to defend myself aggressively too.
Yeah.
So I definitely do understand all that.
I think like mediators, I don't know if we really went to like bursts in order.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think we kind of just skipped to like respect and safety.
Yeah.
And understanding, communication, understanding. I
Yeah.
kind of almost went hand in hand.
Yeah, I don't think we talked about like the B and burst belonging. Do you think we did talk about belonging?
Belonging.
I think we might have touched on it lightly.
Maybe just like belonging in your own household sort of thing, or your own culture.
Right, exactly.
I think they were all slightly touched on. Even
Yeah.
trust was touched a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
I would definitely say understanding, respect, and safety was probably the biggest.
The
Yeah.
biggest, yeah. Definitely.
Understanding was
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think this time was more of a conversation instead of like quote unquote mediation?
Right. I mean, it started off a bit rocky, of course. We're still trying to get a good understanding of each other's
Mhm.
emotions, thoughts, and feelings.
But
I feel
before
like-
this, I couldn't have a normal conversation.
Yeah. Did it feel relaxed as a conversation like we're talking right now?
Not as relaxed.
Not as much.
Nah, I mean, I felt more tension before, but
Mhm.
after you guys talked to us individually, and after
It kind of calmed down a little.
yes, and
Yeah.
after he revealed what happened with his family and what the fish represent, definitely I calmed down a little bit. I understood the situation more.
Mhm. I think what really worked well is that you guys are really good in character.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe you guys like sold it for me.
Sold
I was about
it,
to
I
cry
know.
pretty soon.
I know.
Yeah, like you guys are really good at being in
Yeah,
character.
you guys are really good at that. Really elaborate on
Yeah.
just like the little details that like I would have like overlooked or something.
Yeah.
You're really good.
So are we done?
I don't know.
That's a good question.
Were there any other like problems?
Yeah, do you think
or was there
something
things
we
we did
can
great
improve?
on? Or?
Let's solving the case.
Solving
the case, yeah.
Probably touch upon that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
solving the
Wrapping
problem.
it up.
Yeah.
We should wrap it up.
Yeah. Do you think we went through the phases pretty seamlessly, like between one storytelling and two like summarizing issues,
Nah, yeah.
like diagnosing the
Yeah.
actual issue?
Right, I
Yeah.
think so.
Right.
Yeah, I think you both as mediators actually.
Yeah, I
Hit
think
it
you're
right
really
on the nail, yeah,
really
that
good
was
at asking
awesome.
questions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. I was like, I was gonna say something about myself, but I was like, no, I'm just not. Because I'm not very good at it.
Right. So I think
We should definitely wrap it up though.
yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's
All right.
55.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
All right, perfect.
Oh no, wrap it up isn't like solve the case.